Welcome to Bedtime History. This is a calm space, a gentle corner of YouTube where stories of the past guide you softly into rest. Tonight is special. This is the very first story on this channel. And before we begin, I would like to tell you who we are and why we are here. Bedtime History was created with a simple dream: to bring you stories of the past told slowly, softly, calmly, so you can relax and drift to sleep. The world is full of noise. The day is filled with screens, messages, and hurry. But when night falls, we all need a place to rest. We all need a voice to guide us gently into silence. That is why this channel exists. Not only to teach history, but to make history feel like a lullaby. To bring you comfort, knowledge, and calm, all in the same breath. Each episode you will find here is more than just a story. It is a ritual, a way to slow down, to set aside the weight of the day, and to remember that even the past can help us sleep. If this calm space brings you peace, please subscribe so you can return here each night to rest. And we would love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments where you are listening from and what time it is where you are tonight. We read your words with gratitude, and it brings us joy to know that people around the world are resting under the same stars. Now, let us take a moment together. Breathe slowly, softly, calmly, gently. Feel the air move in and out. The world slows down, the noise fades, only silence remains. And in this silence, we begin a new journey. The journey of bedtime history. This channel is built for you. For students, for dreamers, for travelers, for anyone who carries the weight of the day and wishes to set it down. Here you will find stories of pharaohs and queens, of emperors and samurai, of poets and warriors, of forgotten villages and great cities, of myths and truths, all told slowly, softly, calmly, gently, so your mind can rest. And so, with this first episode, we invite you to close your eyes, to let go of today, and to step softly into the past. Now, let us begin tonight's story. Under the gentle glow of Alexandria's stars. Tonight, we travel back in time to meet a young girl. Her name was Cleopatra.
In Alexandria, torches flickered softly along the palace halls. Their glow painted gentle shadows across the ancient stones. The night air drifted through open courtyards, cool, gentle, silent, carrying the stillness of the stars. Cleopatra was still a young girl. She walked among these halls, not yet a queen, but a child of promise. Her tutors followed quietly. They carried scrolls of wisdom and stories of the heavens. For in Egypt, the night sky was not only beautiful, but a book of knowledge. The stars told the farmers when the Nile would rise. They told the priests when to honor the gods. And they told sailors how to find their way across dark waters. Cleopatra's eyes lifted upward. She listened as her tutor whispered, "The stars do not hurry, yet they guide every traveler." She breathed slowly, softly, calmly, gently. The words rested inside her like a lullaby. And so the night carried on. The palace walls held their silence. The sky above shimmered. And the child who would one day be queen sat quietly beneath the constellations. And so the night carries on. The story rests, but not yet, for more of the tale is waiting. The palace of Alexandria was more than a home. It was a world of learning, a place where voices echoed softly through marble halls. By day, the city outside was alive with noise. Merchants called from the marketplace. Ships creaked in the harbor. The air was filled with spice and salt and endless voices. But at night, the noise faded. The palace grew still, and the only sound was the slow rhythm of footsteps and the hush of the wind. Cleopatra's tutors gathered near a courtyard pool. The water reflected the stars above, turning the sky into a mirror at her feet. One tutor spoke of Egypt's power. Another spoke of the wisdom of Greece. A third spoke of Rome, a rising force beyond the horizon. Cleopatra listened, her young mind absorbing each word. To her, the world felt endless, as though every story was another star shining in the night. She closed her eyes, and for a moment she could almost hear the river Nile breathing slowly in the distance. Its waters would rise and fall, just as it had for thousands of years. It was the heartbeat of her people. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, the lessons blended with the stillness of the night. And so the night carried on. The pool lay quiet, reflecting both the sky above and the dreams of a girl who would one day be queen.
Beyond the palace walls, Alexandria stretched out toward the sea. Its great library and towering lighthouse were wonders known across the world. But on this night, the city slept. Only the hush of the waves brushed against the shore. Only the soft glow of torches lit the quiet streets. Inside the palace, Cleopatra leaned close to her tutor. He opened a scroll, its surface marked with careful lines and stars. "These are the maps of the heavens," he whispered. "They guide not only the farmer and the sailor, but the Pharaoh herself. For to rule Egypt, one must understand the rhythm of the skies." The young girl traced the patterns with her eyes. She saw Orion's belt. She saw Sirius, the dog star, brightest in the night. And she saw the constellations that promised the flood of the Nile. Her breath slowed. Her thoughts drifted. The scroll in her tutor's hands felt less like a map, more like a lullaby written in light. Outside, the breeze carried the faint scent of lotus blossoms. The flowers closed at night, their petals folding gently, as though even nature itself was preparing to rest. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, Cleopatra let her gaze settle on the stars above. Each one seemed to whisper a secret. Each one seemed to guide her deeper into the night. And so the night carried on. The torches burned low. The scroll lay silent. And the child of Egypt sat between wisdom and wonder. Far from the palace, the Nile moved like a dark ribbon through the land. Its waters glimmered faintly beneath the stars. For Egypt, the river was life itself. It fed the fields. It carried the boats. It bound the people together. Cleopatra's tutor spoke softly. "The stars above and the river below are the same story told in different tongues. One flows through the heavens. One flows through the earth. Both guide Egypt." The young girl closed her eyes. She imagined the river rising, carrying silt and life into the waiting soil. She imagined the stars moving slowly, marking each season with their steady light. In her mind, the two became one. The river was the sky. The sky was the river. Both eternal. Both gentle. Both necessary. She felt the cool stone beneath her hands. She felt the still air of the courtyard settling heavier as the night deepened. And somewhere in the distance, frogs began their chorus. Their croaking was a sign, a herald of the coming flood. For centuries, Egyptians had listened for this sound. It was nature's whisper, a promise that the cycle of life would continue. Cleopatra listened too, and though she was still a child, she sensed the weight of these rhythms. The stars, the river, the chorus of frogs, all speaking to her in voices older than the palace walls. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, her eyelids grew heavier. And so the night carried on. The Nile flowed in silence. The stars drifted overhead. And the child of Egypt sat in stillness, half in waking, half in dream. Within the palace chambers, the air grew cooler as the night stretched on. Servants moved quietly, their footsteps soft against the stone. They carried lamps and then left them burning low until even the hallways seemed to hum with silence. Cleopatra sat near her mother's side. The queen's presence was strong, yet gentle in the glow of the fire. She spoke to her daughter, not as a ruler, but as a mother who wished to pass on wisdom. Egypt
is like the Nile, she whispered, sometimes calm, sometimes fierce, but always flowing. To guide it, you must listen more than you speak, and you must know when to bend and when to stand firm. The young girl listened, her heart absorbing each word as if they were etched into the stars themselves. A breeze drifted through the chamber, carrying the faint scent of incense. The smoke curled upwards, slowly, softly, calmly, gently, like prayers rising into the night. Cleopatra wondered if she would one day speak these same words to a child of her own, a child who would also sit beneath the weight of Egypt's crown. Her eyes lingered on the patterns of smoke. They shifted and swirled, changing shape, yet never fading, just as Egypt itself had endured for centuries. The fire crackled once, then fell quiet, and the queen's hand rested softly on her daughter's shoulder. And so the night carried on. The fire dimmed, the incense thinned, and the girl who would one day be queen sat wrapped in the warmth of both silence and legacy.
The palace settled deeper into quiet. One by one, the torches along the halls burned lower, their flames bowing like tired dancers. Cleopatra lay upon a low couch, a woven blanket pulled gently to her chin. Her tutors had gone. Her mother had retired. Only the hush of the night remained. From the open balcony, she could still see the sky. The stars glimmered faintly, like jewels scattered across velvet. Her thoughts drifted. Was she awake, or was she already dreaming? The line between the two grew softer with each breath. She imagined herself upon the Nile. A small boat carried her slowly downstream. The water lapped against the wood, a steady rhythm, a cradle song older than memory. Above, the constellations guided her. Orion pointed the way. Sirius burned bright. The Milky Way stretched like a river of its own. The cool night air touched her cheek. It felt like the hand of Egypt itself, steady and eternal. Her breathing slowed, softened, calmed, until even the sound of her heart felt like part of the night's lullaby. For a moment, she thought she heard voices, priests chanting in the temples, farmers whispering thanks to the river, sailors calling to the stars. But they were only echoes, folded into the silence of her dream. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, Cleopatra drifted further inward. And so the night carried on. The stars glowed steady, the river whispered, and the young daughter of Egypt lay between waking and dream, held by the hush of history itself.
In her half-dream, Cleopatra found herself walking through a temple. Its columns rose high into the night, carved with stories older than memory. The air was cool, scented faintly with stone and incense. Torches glowed along the walls, their flames steady, their light painting shadows that swayed like dancers.
Hieroglyphs shimmered faintly in the glow. Birds, eyes, rivers, each symbol a fragment of Egypt's long song. A priest's voice echoed softly. "The gods watch the night," he whispered. "They guide not only kings, but the hearts of children who will one day rule." Cleopatra touched the stone. It was cool beneath her fingers, yet alive with meaning. She felt as though every mark on the wall was speaking directly to her, telling her she was part of something vast. Above, the roof of the temple opened to the sky. The stars gleamed down, resting gently upon her face. They felt closer now, as if they had bent low just to see her. She breathed slowly, softly, calmly, gently. And in that breath, she felt her smallness and her greatness. A child beneath the stars, but also a thread in the endless tapestry of Egypt. The temple faded. The night folded around her once more, and she drifted deeper into the quiet river of sleep. And so the night carried on. The torches dimmed, the hieroglyphs rested in silence, and the daughter of Egypt lay hidden in both history and dream.
The night grew deeper. Even the city beyond the palace seemed to disappear into silence. In her dream, Cleopatra stood beside the Nile. The river stretched wide and endless, its surface glittering with starlight. She placed her hand in the water. It was cool, gentle, steady. The current moved slowly, as though time itself flowed past her fingers. On the far bank, she saw shadows of farmers. They carried baskets of grain. They led oxen through the dark fields. And though their voices did not reach her, she felt their presence, the pulse of Egypt's people. Then the scene shifted. The farmers were gone. In their place, a great barge floated down the river. Its sails glowed white in the starlight. Musicians played softly upon its deck. The sound of flutes and harps mingled with the rhythm of the water. Cleopatra stepped onto the barge. The wood rocked gently beneath her feet. The music swelled, not loud, not hurried, but slow, soft, calm, gentle. She felt the boat drift downstream, past the fields, past the temples, past the sleeping city of Alexandria. And as the boat moved, the stars above seemed to move with it. The sky itself was sailing with her. She closed her eyes. The music became softer. The river became quieter. Until all that remained was the sound of her own breathing. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, she drifted deeper into the dream. And so the night carried on. The barge slipped into silence. The river flowed without end. And the child of Egypt was carried by both water and stars.
The dream carried her further. The river widened. until it became the sky itself. Cleopatra now floated among the stars. Each constellation shone brighter, as though alive with breath. She saw Ra, the sun god, sailing his golden bark across the heavens. Though it was night, his light lingered faintly, a reminder that dawn would return. She saw Nut, the goddess of the sky, arching above, her body painted with stars, her arms stretched wide, holding the heavens like a mother cradling her children. And she saw Osiris, lord of the afterlife, resting quietly among the constellations, not frightening, but calm, a keeper of the eternal rhythm. The young girl felt no fear, only wonder, only the gentle hum of the universe folding around her. She breathed slowly, softly, calmly, gently. Her small hands reached upward. It seemed for a moment that the gods themselves were guiding her, not as a queen yet, but as a child, learning the language of eternity. The stars pulsed softly. The river of night flowed on without end. And Cleopatra, still half a child of earth and half a dream of heaven, let her eyelids grow heavier. And so the night carried on. The gods returned to silence. The constellations shimmered, and the daughter of Egypt drifted further, deeper, into the cradle of sleep.
The dream shifted once more. Cleopatra was no longer among the gods. She was back in the palace, its marble floors cool beneath her feet. But the palace felt different now. The walls glowed faintly, as though lit from within. Every column, every carving, seemed alive with quiet breath. She walked slowly through the hall. Her footsteps echoed softly, yet the sound felt like part of the night's song. In the distance, she saw her reflection in a bronze mirror. A small girl, eyes wide, carrying the weight of tomorrow, though she was still a child of today. She reached out to touch the mirror. Her reflection did the same, but instead of glass, the surface rippled like water. And for a moment, she felt as though she could step through into another Egypt, another time. Voices drifted through the hall, faint, gentle, not of fear, but of guidance. One voice said, "Rule with wisdom." Another whispered, "Rule with patience." A third murmured, "Rule with grace." The words folded into her heart like threads being woven into fabric, softly, calmly, gently. She turned away from the mirror. The hall stretched longer now, fading into shadow. Yet she did not hurry. She let the night carry her forward, step by step, breath by breath. And so the night carried on. The mirror grew still. The voices faded, and the child of Egypt walked deeper into the halls of dream.
The hall faded behind her. Now Cleopatra walked along a desert path. The sand beneath her feet was cool, lit silver by the glow of the moon. The dunes stretched far and endless,
rising and falling like waves of the sea. Yet the night was calm, the desert was quiet, and the stars above watched her every step. She carried no torch, no guide, only the moonlight, soft and steady, leading her forward. Each step was slower than the last, each breath deeper. The silence wrapped her like a cloak. She felt lighter, as though the sand itself carried her weight. In the distance, she saw the outline of a pyramid. Its peak touched the stars. Its sides glowed faintly, as though the earth itself was rising to meet the heavens. She walked closer, but the pyramid did not grow larger. It remained distant, like a dream always just ahead. Yet that did not matter. The journey itself was enough. Her eyelids fluttered. The desert wind brushed her cheek. It whispered softly, calmly, gently. The sound was no louder than a sigh. She paused at the crest of a dune. She looked back once, but saw nothing. Only starlight, only silence, only sleep. And so the night carried on. The pyramid glowed in the distance. The sand lay still beneath her, and the daughter of Egypt walked deeper into the hush of dream.
The pyramid no longer seemed distant. In her dream, Cleopatra now stood at its base. The stone rose high above her, ancient and unshaken, its weight steady as time itself. She placed her hand upon the stone. It was cool, smooth, enduring. The touch filled her with quiet strength, as though the walls carried the memory of every ruler before her. A doorway opened, not with noise, not with force, but gently, as if the pyramid itself had been waiting for her arrival. Inside, the air was still and deep. The walls glimmered faintly with paintings of gods and kings. Ankhs, lotus flowers, and golden suns, each symbol resting quietly in the dark. She walked slowly down the passage. Her footsteps echoed softly, but the sound was calm, like a heartbeat within stone. At the chamber's center, a single flame burned. Its light was steady, its glow reaching only far enough to paint the silence in gold. Cleopatra sat before the flame. No words came, no voices, only stillness, only breath. Her eyes grew heavier, her shoulders loosened. The pyramid seemed to breathe with her, slowly, softly, calmly, gently. And so the night carried on. The flame burned steady. The stone walls rested in silence, and the child of Egypt was held in the heart of timelessness.
The flame flickered once, and in its glow, Cleopatra saw figures carved in shadow. The guardians of Egypt, statues of falcons, jackals, and lions, silent, watchful, yet calm in their stillness. Their eyes did not frighten her. They comforted her, for she felt they were not here to test her, but to remind her that she was never alone. The air was cool, and it carried the faint scent of stone and earth. She drew in a breath, slowly, softly, calmly, gently. The silence around her was no longer empty. It was full of memory, full of promise, full of peace. She closed her eyes, and for a moment, the guardians seemed to breathe with her. Each inhale steady, each exhale quiet. Their presence melted into the rhythm of the night. The flame dimmed lower, yet still held steady. Its glow reached her face, resting softly upon her closed eyelids. She let her body grow heavy. She let her thoughts drift like sand upon the desert wind. And so the night carried on. The guardians watched in silence. The chamber held its breath. And the daughter of Egypt drifted deeper into the hush of forever.
The chamber around her grew softer, as though the stone itself had begun to breathe. Cleopatra felt no weight now. Her body was light, her mind unbound, floating gently in the stillness. Above her, the ceiling seemed to open once more. The stars returned, not distant, but close, as though they leaned down to rest beside her. She saw the slow arc of the moon. She saw Sirius glimmer like a guardian flame, and she felt the Milky Way stretch across the heavens like a river without end. The stars did not speak. They only rested. Their silence was enough. Their presence was enough. She let her breath fall into rhythm with the endless sky. Inhale, like the river rising. Exhale, like the river falling. Steady, calm, gentle. The silence grew deeper still. Not empty, but full of comfort. A silence that wrapped her like the softest cloth. Her thoughts faded into the stillness. Her body loosened further. She felt herself become part of the rhythm, not apart from Egypt, but one with it. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, she drifted lower, into the heart of the night. And so the night carried on. The stars kept watch. The river of time flowed without end, and the daughter of Egypt rested in the eternal hush. Time itself seemed to fade. Was it night still, or had dawn begun to stir beyond the horizon? Cleopatra could not tell, and it did not matter. She drifted through the silence, held gently by unseen hands. Her breath was the only sound, slow and steady, matching the rhythm of eternity. Images passed before her. A lotus flower opening in the sun. A falcon gliding without effort across the sky. A candle flame flickering once, then settling into calm. Each image lingered, then dissolved into stillness. Not hurried, not forced, only soft, only gentle. She felt as though the whole of Egypt was breathing with her. The river, the desert, the temples, the people, all resting in one rhythm. Her body grew heavier. Her thoughts grew lighter. The balance between them slipped quietly away. She let go of the day. She let go of the weight.
She let go of time itself. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, she drifted deeper still. And so the night carried on. The lotus closed again. The falcon disappeared into shadow, and the daughter of Egypt rested fully in the hush of dream.
The dream was now only silence. No temple, no river, no desert. Only stillness, wide and endless, like the sky itself. Cleopatra lay within it, floating as though upon gentle waters. Her breath rose and fell, a tide too soft to disturb the night. She felt her body loosen further, her arms heavy, her shoulders warm, her eyelids closed. Every part of her melted into rest. In that stillness, she heard a single sound, the beat of her own heart, slow, calm, gentle. It echoed like a drum of eternity, steady and certain. The stars above grew dimmer. The flame within the pyramid lowered to a glow. The night itself seemed to bow, preparing to yield to dawn. But Cleopatra did not stir. She drifted deeper still, as though sinking into soft earth, into the embrace of history, into the hush of forever. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, she let the silence carry her. And so the night carried on. The stars held their silence. The river of time moved unseen, and the daughter of Egypt rested in the deepest calm. The palace, the river, the desert, all had faded now. Only the hush of the night remained. Cleopatra rested as if upon a cloud of silence. No thought pressed upon her. No weight lingered. Only calm. Only ease. The stars above were faint now, like whispers fading into distance. The moon drifted lower, its light soft, gentle, harmless. Her breath rose once more, fell once more, and then blended into the rhythm of the night. In her dream, she felt Egypt itself resting, the farmers at peace in their homes, the temples quiet in prayer, the river flowing without hurry, the desert still as stone. All of Egypt sleeping, all of Egypt breathing, all of Egypt carried gently by the night. She was part of that rhythm, not apart, but within, not separate, but whole. Her body grew heavier, like stone sinking slowly into earth. Yet her spirit felt lighter, like a bird gliding silently across the sky. Slowly, softly, calmly, gently, she surrendered to the night. And so the night carried on. The land lay in stillness, the sky bent in silence, and the daughter of Egypt rested fully in the arms of sleep.
And so the night carries on. The story rests.
And so may you. And so may you. Close your eyes. Let silence hold you. Let the stars keep watch above. Until tomorrow night, when another story will guide you slowly, softly, calmly, gently back into rest. Good night.